Okay, so spoke with you about the basic tools you need to do about 80% of the locksmithing jobs that we do. I'm here, I've got my backpack right here, and this has, it's basically what I consider like go bag. It's a bag I can grab and pretty much take anywhere and take care of most of the jobs that we get, especially like emergency opens. So I'm just going to go through the tools and kind of give you a kind of a price comparison of what they cost. First and foremost, most of the locks we see on houses are either schlag or schlage, depending on who you are and how you pronounce it, or quick set. I have a very large pin box. Those are the little tumblers that you put in to rebuild a lock, and the really large kit costs about anywhere from $250 to $400, but for $40 you can get a little kit like this. Carry this one in my bag. The big one has to be mounted to a table. This little one has a little card that gives you all the schlag, quickset, and Weiser pin sizes, and just has a small assortment of pins and springs. These are all the pins and springs you need to rekey a schlag, quickset, or a Weiser lock. Also Baldwin and M-Tech and a whole bunch of knockoff brands. So again, at least 80% of the locks that we see here in the Northwest. Next tool I have, get into it, multi-tool. This is the Gerber diesel. Has a pair of needle nose pliers, very important. And the other two pieces I use on this all the time are the file and just wait, here it is, the knife blade, and I use the saw blade actually quite a bit. Don't really use the pliers all that much on this one. I also carry a couple pairs of pliers, a set of regular pliers like that. These are pliers with no teeth, so you don't mar any of the hardware. This is a pair of mini bolt cutters for modifying usually tail pieces on the back of the lock, things like that. This is by Nipex, very handy tool. Again, the pin box, that one I showed you, about $40. Multi-tool, $35, $40. Each of these pliers probably about $20. The bolt cutters, yeah, there's a higher end brand, but I think they're about 40 bucks. But yeah, I mean, those aren't vital, but they make your life a lot easier. Next thing here, I'll go in this little box. Pokey tool. This one's a $4 one. I use this one all the time. It's my favorite brand, but you can go to Harbor Freight and get a set of 4 of them with different format tips for $2, $3, something like that. But use this daily. This is called a plug spinner. What you do is if when you pick a door lock and you pick it the wrong direction and it doesn't unlock, you take this and you set it. There we go, like that, and then when you push the button, it spins, and then hopefully half the time, maybe higher, it'll spin it past, so you don't have to pick it again in the other direction. Very useful tool. I want to say you can get these. This one's probably a $39 one. You can get them for 20 bucks. This is a plastic plug follower. It's what you use to slide the cylinder plug out of the cylinder so that you can repin the plug. Have to have this. I've got some nice ones that probably cost me $10, $15. You can get them for a couple bucks. You can use a Maglite solitaire flashlight. You can use a piece of dowel rod. I've used ballpoint pins, the fatter ballpoint pins, when I've been desperate. You just kind of learn to make it work. And really nothing else in that whole box you have to have. Oh, I will show you these. I don't use them very often. They're called bump keys. They're kind of a dirty way of picking a lock if you're really like desperate to get through it. It works on a good number of locks. It takes some skill and practice to learn how to use them. This covers, well, this covers almost every doorway in North America, this little set. It's not something that's necessary to have if you're good at picking. And you can see I probably very rarely ever use these, but always handy to carry and have on hand just in case. I also mostly use those to, if I go to a doorway that I don't know what key goes to it, because that has most of the keys. If I go through that ring and one fits in, then I know what key blank it is, which is that is very useful. Other side of my bag here. Most of the stuff in here you don't have to have. This one's vital. Pick kit. I have a really big pick kit that has 80 picks in it maybe. Basically I use that pick, it's called the lifter pick. I use the rake pick and the half diamond. I use those, well, I guess 100% of the time. I very rarely use the others. And you got to have tension wrenches. There's a few different ones. That's a standard tension wrench. This is a little low profile tension wrench. And this one here that you see that kind of looks odd is basically for doing car doors. So I use that to hold that little metal rain flap out of the way, so you can get in there with a pick. So anyway, vital to learn how to do this. You just sit there, you practice it. I mean, I didn't become proficient with these probably for a year. This is a broken key removal kit. A lot of times people break off keys. Out of all these tools, I maybe only use this one, which is a little rod with hooks on it. They don't hurt or anything, but you can feel them. It hooks the side of the key and you pull it out. That works on that, and your Gerber tool. Pliers work on 95% of the locks. Lock pick kit. This one's probably the Dino pick kit. I don't know, $30 for that one. This removal kit's probably $50, but like I said, if you just get the pieces you need, you're only talking a few bucks. Screwdrivers, flathead and Phillips, gotta have these. Like I said, you got them on the pliers, but you need something long enough to get around a doorknob, so you need to have like real screwdrivers. Hex keys. Screwdrivers a couple bucks. Hex keys you can get at any hardware store. Metric and SIE, you can get them for a local hardware store. Sells both sets for $3 a piece if you get the cheap ones. Can of lubricant. I use two different lubricants. I use, when I'm picking a lock, I use WD-40 because it loosens up the tumblers really easy. But I don't use WD-40 for long term because it varnishes, it hardens on the locks. So I use a product called Houdini. There's other ones as well. The Houdini's designed specifically for locksmiths, and I don't know. I want to say these cans are $15, so it's definitely more than WD-40, but it lasts you quite a while. But it's a great product. Got to have a flashlight. That's important. This is a, well, you don't even need that actually, unless you have a, this is a quick set. They call it a pickle fork kind of in the industry. It's a quick set cylinder removal tool for the quick set locks. One side, you push in to pull out the back stem, and then this other side you slide into the lock to pop out the cylinder. But that's vital, or you can't do quick set locks. Really, outside of those, oh, you do need a pair of these. These are tweezers. You can't really use standard tweezers. You got to use locksmithing tweezers, because if you look, I don't know if you can see it, I mean, you could probably modify a regular pair. It bends out so that it holds around those little tumblers. And what you need to use these for, A, it helps to pick it out of the box, but most important, if you need to put new pins, driver pins in the upper part of the cylinder, driver pins and springs, it's really vital to have one of these so you can reach into that cylinder and load those top pins. You always are redoing the top pins if it's a master keyed lock, so that multiple keys work on it, or if there's any kind of corrosion, you need to pull out the upper ones and put new ones in so they work freely. Or if you're trying to up the security level of a lock, you might pull out the standard driver pins, upper pins, and put in spool pins or some other types of pins that up the security level. But outside of those things, I mean, again, we're only talking for that does 80% of the jobs I go to, and you're talking less than $300 for those parts. The other thing you need really is again, those are the basic things, and then you'd need some sort of a key machine. You can get a really basic, the one I started with 10 years ago, I think still is the cheapest one. It's been around for 50 years. It's probably $250, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's the same one the schools used to for years. You can look at theirs, and I might have one buried around to show you. But that's about it, and you can do almost every job as far as the house goes that you can get to. This doesn't cover commercial locks. This doesn't really cover cars at all. This doesn't really cover safes, which are other big chunks of the business. But yeah, that's about it. So anyway, I hope that helps, and talk to you later.